Hey everyone, remember Wizard magazine? Yeah, you do, don't you? If you were in the 90s especially, growing up and you had that magazine, some of the covers just had you startled. I mean, if you weren't prepubescent, you were pubescent looking at these covers. I mean, they had the Catwoman cover, I remember as a child, and excuse me, this was a time where they say don't judge a book by its cover. Well, Wizard said forget all that. Because you saw these covers and you were just amazed by the artwork. I mean, all these superheroic poses, guys with fists bigger than their heads, pouches, just so many damn pouches. Weapons and places that you would think only sand would be, on the human body. I mean, Wizard was just something else. And what I loved about Wizard was they had these dream matches, pretty much a battle, if you will. Who would win, Batman versus Spider-Man, Superman versus Thor, and I just couldn't wait to see that every day. Me and my friends would sit around and discuss that, time after time. Well, if Batman had enough prep time and yada yada, Wizard was a fun magazine. I also remember they had a feature where they graded certain comics. They let you know, hey, look, this might be crap. I think something happened where, some of these writers, artists, whatever, for these publishers decided that, hey, look, you're keeping us from selling books. Maybe you need to fall back from that if you want to interview us. It's probably what happened. I'm not sure, but I can imagine that's what happened. Wizard succumbed to the pressure and was like, okay, our job is to promote comics, not to deter you from comics. But you know what? For the comics they gave A+ reviews to, that inspired some of us to go forward and purchase said books, right? Nowadays, you have the internet and somebody's going to either spoil or upload the comic for you, so you still may purchase it, you still may not. It's, if you're consistent at your writing, you should sell. But that's another topic. Back to Wizard. You had letters to Mike Cotton, which were entertaining. I don't know what happened to him. He's not there anymore. The magazine, I've got a couple of them here, some of the later forms of them. Pretty cool book still, that logo is just classic. But what you noticed here is the size. I mean, Wizard went from being, this thick to like what you see right now, and to present day, it's just not even in publication as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there was an online version of it, which they tried to come back with, but I don't know what happened, but I do miss it. It's a shame that it's a shell of its former self now. I hope Garib and, maybe gets back with some of the old guys to get the band back together and do this magazine right. It was very diverse. I mean, they were talking about toys, and that spun its own magazine. And, it was less about comics and more about, hey, this is what happens at Comic-Con. I imagine today's Wizard would have Twilight on the cover or something like that. But anywho, I remember that time. There was a time when Wizard was great. They covered the big three, if you will, and there's so much more now that, that should be covered and could be looked at, and it'd be interesting to see what the takes would have been had, Image sustained, or excuse me, had Wizard sustained itself. So, until next time, this is Other Yellow Hat Guy saying, stay sensational.